We'll call the December 12th council meeting to order. Vice Chief Martin, would you lead us in the invocation, please?
Heavenly Father, we gather here tonight to honor you and serve this community that you've blessed us with. We acknowledge, Lord, that it's only by your grace and strength that we're able to perform the daily duties you set before us. Psalm 119 reminds us that your word is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. May our words and deeds reflect your will in our lives so that we can be an instrument of your blessing to our friends, neighbors, and all of your children in this community. Yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Amen. Captain Diniger, would you lead us in the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk will call the roll.
Enzer. Present. Taylor.
Present.
Blankenship. Armstrong.
Here.
Blair.
Present.
Heckmaster.
Present.
Cole.
Here.
Snow.
Here.
Ellis.
Here.
Causey.
Here.
All right, we'll move on to reading and consideration of minutes of the previous meeting. Mr. Ellis.
Your Honor, I move that we approve the minutes of November 28th, 2023 that were in our packet.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as written. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to public comments. Anyone wishing to address the council, step to the podium, state your name and address, and please limit your conversation to 5 minutes or less.
Mayor, Council, I'm Bill Putnam. I live at 624 Bel Air. And first of all, I want to wish you all, each of you, a wonderful holiday season, a wonderful Christmas with your families, and a healthy new year. First, I need to mention that I have not received the minutes of the so-called hiring committee that you said you would send me, Mr. Mayor. Have you found those?
I will check on that.
Thank you. I felt it necessary to come forward tonight to respond to the comments made by City Attorney Daly at the last meeting. It is interesting, when I went back and listened to the tape, that he said he didn't know if there was a hiring committee when Dagnan was hired, because he certainly should have advised the council as to the process of hiring a new city administrator. Then he reverted to his now shop-worn comment that the council can do anything it wants. It can go against an ordinance just by making a motion to change or to do something. He and apparently the mayor just don't get it, that the reason we are bringing these questions about these violations of code and charter to the attention of the council and the public is about the right of the citizenry to be involved in the process of making the laws that govern the city. Mr. Dowdley, am I correct that unless that there is an emergency, it is required in the city charter, section 3.9D, that a council bill receive 2 readings before it can be adopted?
Yes.
Thank you.
3.9.
Why is this?
Your Honor, point of order. We just approved the minutes a few minutes ago, and it says that the city administrator, the city attorney, stated the council was in compliance with the city charter during the hiring. So I believe this has been addressed many times. I would ask that we move on.
All right, thank you. Anything new, Bill?
So, in my opinion, it's because so the citizens can have an opportunity to be informed and to provide input into the decisions that they choose. So doesn't it make sense that if the council is going to change any ordinance, and certainly one dealing with something as important as hiring a city administrator, there should also be 2 readings to give the citizens an opportunity for input?
Bill, you've discussed this before. You've made your complaint to the state. that process will go on as it will. This
I've
is
got
just-
5 minutes, Mr. Mayor. You can't hammer me down.
Yeah, sure I can. I just did.
Hey, well, just so you'll know, Mary Johnson, the chief investigator at the state auditor's office, called me last week, and said that you'd be getting the investigative letter this week probably. So
All
be
right.
on the lookout for it.
All right, thank you.
Good evening. I'm Jack Cruza. I have a home at 701 East Highland. And after being away for 7 months, I came back to town in mid-June to find the city in a bit of a mess from the standpoint of organizational conflict and weakness in management style and leadership. Since then, I've attended multiple meetings, and from what I've seen, I'd like to offer a few observations. I may exceed the 5 minutes allotted, but given that this will be my last attendance for several months, I hope the mayor will give me a bit of leeway. I hope that you council members will find my observations credible. With over 30 years with Leggett & Platt, managing operations with over $1 billion in sales and facilities all over the world, I've seen and managed through my share of organizational conflict and divisive, ineffective leadership. So there's a few things that seem apparent. A couple of years ago, our mayor encouraged the council to support creating a new position of assistant city administrator. The council agreed. Dagnan was hired without any search for other interested and perhaps more qualified candidates, a clear violation of our city charter. Now, last Friday, in the Globe article, Nate said that he had responded to this claim by Mr. Putnam that we didn't have to follow the charter since we weren't hiring an officer. But Nate, then in the same Globe article, the mayor said there was a commitment that Dagnan would get the full city administrator job when it became available. So it's clear to anyone that you knew that you were hiring an officer position and just tried to step around the charter with this little two-step. It was simply wrong and perhaps criminal if knowingly orchestrated. The statement that it has to be okay since the council approved it is tainted by the fact that they didn't get proper guidance from the city attorney about required procedural compliance. Hiring a non-resident city police chief with no administrative experience makes no sense and doesn't appear to be in the best interest of Carthage. Would we hire a police chief with no law enforcement experience? The state auditor will for sure dig into this. Number two, the mayor's delegated to the city administrator authorities and responsibilities which by charter clearly rest with his position. I'm sure the city administrator happily embraces these duties, as he appears to have a leadership style that craves, oftentimes abuses power. But the new organizational chart that results from these actions clearly violates the will of the voters when they approved a mayor-council structure of city management, rather than a city manager structure, which in essence is what the mayor has created. I expect that the mayor feels that due to work or personal time commitments, he does not have time to cover those responsibilities himself. However, violating the will of the people is not the proper solution. If you can't really do the job as structured by charter, then you should resign. There should be some consequences. Number three, we are all aware, in fact the whole city is aware of the debacle with CW&EP this past summer. I'm convinced that the city administrator was the driving force behind this, a continuing attempt to gain full city manager power and control. The city attorney gave bad advice, again regarding violations of ordinances. Claims of violations were subsequently withdrawn, but these actions pushed our city to near the breaking point. The city attorney's opinions were evidently wrong and irresponsible, and one city council member may have had a personal revenge agenda. I believe he knows who he is. Again, bad leadership, bad decisions should have consequences. Number four, about a year and a half ago, after a presentation by Mark Peterson, the council voted to apply for a grant to purchase approximately 250 acres of land from Precious Moments with no investment from the city required. When the grant application was presented to the mayor, he and the city administrator unilaterally decided to not sign it. overriding the will of the council without going back to council and requesting that the decision be revisited.
Mr. Cruza, I'm not going to allow you to continue with that. That's just not true at all. So if you're going to continue to tell mistruths, then we're not going to, I'm not going to hear that.
So it's not true.
No, it's not.
And we heard the truth then.
It's been in the minutes. We've been talking about it for the last 3 months.
The council did approve it, and
No,
then it
the
was not
council-
signed.
The council approved to continue seeking that as long as there was no council, no city or local monies used, and that's not what happened.
I see. Well, it would have been good for that to have been
It was in the minutes.
brought back to the council and discussed.
It was.
Okay. Seems like a major miscommunication.
No, I think everybody was pretty clear on it.
Okay, can I go on? One last thing. I've observed in several meetings that the city attorney, when given his chance to speak, tends to ramble on in an attempt to discredit points made in the earlier public comments. I advise all council members to be very careful when taking what Nate says as truthful or accurate. When it comes to comments defending actions of the mayor and city administrator, keep in mind that he has a clear conflict of interest. They have assured his loyalty with a doubling of his salary and access to full-time employee benefits. But as noted above, there are repeated instances of bad advice. If the state auditor gives input that he's been giving poor guidance to the council, the then-seated council should not hesitate to terminate his employment. In summary, based on my observations and the repetitive nature of the errors, it appears that there is some sort of conspiracy seeking control and power. The common denominator is the city administrator, supported by the city attorney and unleashed by the mayor. As of today, Dagnan has direct line management authority over most all departments of the city except CWDP, and he did all he could this summer to get a hold of that. I recommend that you, the council, move to dismiss the city administrator for leading this control conspiracy and dividing our town. You may also consider removing the city attorney for pure incompetence. There must be consequences. I'd also recommend that you dismiss the mayor, but I don't think you have the authority. But you certainly can control him. It will require 7 of you. 1 to make the motion, 1 to second, and 5 to dig deep into your conscience and be responsible to those you represent. If you don't, I expect that the voters will speak, and we'll see a lot of new faces around your table when I return next June. I expect that council to restore the voice of the people and make the changes necessary to get our city back on track.
Good evening. My name's Derek Peterson, and I reside at 1141 Sheila Ann Drive. I grew up in Carthage, and I'm so grateful for that. I attended St. Anne's Catholic School from preschool through 6th grade. I then transitioned to the public schools for junior high and high school, and throughout that time I was involved in student government, a member of many school clubs, and played on the football and golf teams, all some of my favorite memories. I recall reacting the Napoleon Dynamite dance, which some of you may or may not be familiar with, as part of my 7th grade student council election campaign. And needless to say, it was a landslide victory. I deeply value the education and experiences I obtained through childhood here. After graduating high school, I attended William Jewell College, which is just north of the Kansas City Metro, on a golf scholarship, and obtained my degree in business administration. After 4 years in Kansas City, I moved to Little Rock, Arkansas to attend the law school at the University of Arkansas, Little Rock. Upon graduating, I passed the Arkansas bar exam and practiced for 3 years in Little Rock, mainly in business and real estate matters. All said, I was an Arkansan for about 7 years. Yet, while moving away and living in these different cities, one thing became abundantly clear to me. there's simply no place better than Carthage, Missouri. The people, the places, the schools, the community, the history, I could go on and on. I knew this is where I wanted to move back to set my roots and raise my family. Deciding to leave the practice of law, a position in sales arose here in Southwest Missouri that presented just the opportunity for me to do so. Me, my wife, and our 2-year-old daughter have now lived in Carthage for a little over a year. I now find myself on the Carter Park playground with my daughter, watching high school football games and attending fantastic events such as Sparkle in the Park, none of which can be successful without powers the likes of our Parks Department, School District, and Carthage Water and Electric. The service, efforts, and actions of those focused on the best interest of Carthage citizens is what has always made this city so great. Never did I think I would have to question our city government or those within it. But to keep Carthage the wonderful city it's always been for me, and to provide the same for my daughter and her family, I feel it is my turn to help make an impact on the future. Therefore, I would like to announce to the council that I'll be running for the Ward 1 City Council position in April 24, and I look forward to helping ensure that Carthage remains the best.
Hi, I'm Jana Schramm. I live at 1521 Grand here in Carthage. And I've worked with a committee, Carthage Citizens United, for the past few months. And this has been a wonderful group to work with because we're seeking transparency from City Council, following our city charter, supporting Carthage Water and Electric, and getting the voices of the citizens heard for all transparency from City Hall. Today I resigned, I quit that committee because I signed up, I filed to be a representative, a council person from Ward 5, because I believe we can do better for the citizens of Carthage than not give them answers, to try to dismantle CW&EP and have a mayor that won't listen to us. I asked my family, I said, I'm going to do this, and they unanimously said, don't do it. But here I am. I'm fighting for Carthage. Thank you.
My name is Tom Barlow, 1115 Bel Air Place, Ward 4, and I'm running for city council because I love Carthage with all my heart. Years ago, excuse me, we were very fortunate to move here and be part of the education community. Consider myself very fortunate. Apologize. Did not take me long to fall in love with this community. I'm so sorry. I was doing great sitting out there. All right. And for some time, quite some time, it has welled up within me a desire to serve in this capacity. I just feel like the time is right for me to put my name on the dotted line, and if the voters so choose, to do my best, do my utmost to make a positive difference, to make the right decisions for the right reasons, and to do so in as cohesive a manner as possible. And if the voters so choose, I would be both humbled and honored to serve in this capacity. Thank you.
This good? Or do I need to get closer? Kirk Friesen, 527 Bel Air. I love that all my neighbors get to talk too. I've been very bothered. I generally don't get out of bed for Carthage city politics. I'm generally jet setting somewhere or another, and I just kind of got tired of reading all the things that I'm reading and the tactics that are being pulled. I've been in real estate for 20 years now. I don't really have a whole lot to gain by speaking tonight. I'll be the only one that's not clapped for in this room. I'll be clapped for outside of this room. But, you know, my job is I buy and sell real estate, about to the tune of about $3 million this year. I feel like I'm pretty well versed in property values, land values. I'm here to address Mayor Rife, Councilor Dally, and City Administrator Greg Dagnan tonight. Nate, I really appreciate you. Appreciate you continually answering the same question over and over. So, you know, most of us have been parents. We understand what it's like for a child to ask the same question over and over and expect a different answer. So I thank you for that. Greg, very sorry that the minority of city employees have had a tremendous problem with you. You didn't hire yourself for this job. It's not your fault. You know, if there's anything that happened, you know, the council can take that up, and, you know, I wish that people would realize that you didn't hire yourself. I mean, you were the police chief before. Like, I can see why you have so many enemies. Like, I get it. It chuckles, but I mean, it's not fun to be in charge of people and then not let them do whatever they want. So I get it. Mr. Rife, appreciate you. Appreciate you taking people at their word when they fly off the handle and give you a resignation and then come back and ask for their job back. I'm glad that you don't give it back to them. Appreciate that very much. This Precious Moments thing is crazy. People are still talking about it. Do you guys not remember that the city of Carthage is the only reason that property is worth any money to begin with? How much money did Carthage spend? I mean, has anyone been around long enough to know how much money Carthage spent to make that property viable to begin with? And now you want to pay them. There's people in this room that would gladly pay with someone else's money $2.2 million more than it appraised for? Like, is someone getting a kickback from that? Or what's the deal? Like, who thinks that's a good idea? Like, a lot of people back here think that's a great idea. Parks are not free to maintain. Parks are not free to, I mean, how much does it cost to dredge Kellogg Lake every year? Does anyone have that answer? A lot?
It hasn't been done in a long time.
Right, but I mean, it's not cheap.
Right.
Nothing is free in this world. If anything, the butcher should, I mean, I love Don. Don's one of my favorite people in the world, but I don't have to agree with Don's stance on anything because he's my friend. I can still say, Don, you're wrong. That land isn't worth anything without Carthage. It's glorified hunting land without Carthage. You know, I've made some comments, you know, when we talk about Carthage Citizens United and transparency, and we need transparency in government. Have transparency in your own actions. Don't block people who ask questions. Don't block people who go against what you're saying. When you try to silence people, that doesn't really get across your point of, hey, we're looking out for the citizens of Carthage. I'm a citizen. There's a lot of citizens. There's a lot of people who can't say anything because they're beholden to a job. They don't want to get fired. I don't have to play by those rules. I've made my own money. I've done my own thing. I am outside of that. Like, no one can screw my business. No one in here, I haven't done business with anyone in this room. What do I care? I don't care. I don't need to. I absolutely don't have to. And anyway.
So I'm sorry, we'll have to cut it
Okay,
short.
well, I'm sorry. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to report of standing committees. Budget, Ways and Means, Chairman Snow.
Thank you, Your Honor. Budget Ways and Means Committee met.
Nope, all right, hang on.
Hi, my name is Tammy Stark. I live at 918 Fulton, 110 Fulton, North Fulton, the dead end part of the hood, the lowest income neighborhood in the entire town of Carthage. I've came here twice before to talk to someone about the parking that's going on in front of the no parking signs, in front of Jackson Tire, and across the street. I've lived there now 10 years, and it was just about 3 years the last time I came up here and asked somebody to do something. I have pictures that I have taken over the last 2 years that clearly shows the no parking signs, the stripes on the road, and people parking there. That makes it a hazard to pull out. Every time I go to Walmart or go to church, I'm taking a chance on getting T-boned by somebody coming around that big curve. And I asked for help, and I was assured that somebody would get hold of them at Jackson Tire and see if they couldn't do something about their parking. Nothing has changed. It is still the same, and I'm tired of it. The other thing, if you want these pictures, these are those pictures.
I'll take them.
Okay. There you go.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. The other thing that I have to complain about is the parking lot at the health department. That is a public space, and the parking lot is clearly marked that parking should only be for people going to the health department, not the restaurant across the street. I was going into the health department, I can't even remember what for. The parking lot was completely full. It was like 1:30 in the afternoon. So I circled around and I see a guy pulling up, so I'm going for the parking space. Well, these two young men, to me young men, 35, 36, pulled into the space, and I pulled up behind them and I said, "Gentlemen, I'm sorry. I was waiting for that parking spot. I'm handicapped. I'm trying to go to the health department." And he said, "So?" And I said, "But it's clearly marked that these parking spots are for the health department." And he said, "I don't care." And I said, "Then I'm gonna go home and call the police." He said, "You go ahead and do that." So that's what I did. I went home, calmed down, I called the non-emergency number to CPD, and I was told, those are really nice people who own that restaurant. And that's just one of those little laws right there that we don't enforce. So, when it came up a year later that you guys are doing this business, I wasn't surprised. You think you can just pick who you want to enforce the laws on and who you don't. You don't care, and it's not fair. And if you haven't noticed, they're growing in numbers. For every person that you've got sitting out here, you've got 15 or 20 more back at home that couldn't make the meeting because they got kids to get ready to go to school. But they will say so when it comes time to revote. And I'm requesting again that somebody get up there and start enforcing those cars for not parking there. Because I've been T-boned once in my life and it almost killed me on my way to Precious Moments to work. I'm not gonna be T-boned again. Thank you.
All right. Now, Budget Ways and Means, Chairman Snow.
Thank you, Your Honor. Budget Ways and Means Committee met last night here in council chambers. Had a pretty brief agenda. Tonight on our agenda, you'll see Resolution 2020, which is a budget adjustment for the police department to upgrade their honor guard uniforms, to buy some equipment for the animal control officer, and some also to finish completing the vehicle equipment for the new vehicles. So again, that's Resolution 2022 tonight. We also heard during staff reports that Thursday night, December 14th, there'll be a public hearing here in council chambers for the Community Development Block Grant to apply for a grant to redo the sidewalks. I believe it's 2 blocks in every direction off the square. That's here in council chambers. I didn't get the time. Mr. Dagnan, is that 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock on that public hearing. Also, we heard sales tax numbers. Our retail sales tax is down again this month and lagging year to date. And our use tax is up again this month and up substantially year to date. Our next regularly scheduled meeting will be January the second Monday in January. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Committee on Insurance Audit and Claims, Chairperson Blair.
I've forgotten how to
We
do
don't
it.
have an on and off switch
Okay.
on these.
Okay. Got a little bit confused there, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Committee on Insurance Audits and Claims met this evening in council chambers, and we heard from Ms. Cox that she's had some meetings with ClearGov to discuss the budget book software, and which you may go into more detail, also had some meetings about the salary study that she reported went well, that they're trying to come up along with CWEP to create a joint peer group to address questions that are coming up or things they need to respond to, and discuss also that the market has changed post-COVID, and so there's going to be some complicating factors that the group will need to consider as they continue with that salary study. We voted to cancel our meeting that was going to take place next on the 26th, so our next regularly scheduled meeting is now going to be on January 9th here in council chambers at 5:30.
All right, thank you. Public Safety Committee, Chairman Elliff.
Thank you, Your Honor. Public Safety had a special meeting on December the 5th, since our normal meeting would have been right before the council meeting that was canceled because of Christmas. One item that was discussed, we had considered and discussed TNT rescue extrication tool bids. Bids had been sent out. One bid was received back from Johns Mid-America. This is the rescue that is similar, exactly the same as what's on our number 1 CFD's engine. The request came in at $19,325, which was under budget. So at this time, I would move that we accept the bid from Johns Mid-America in the amount of $19,325 for the TNT Storm Series 2 battery-powered rescue extrication tools.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to accept the bid from Johns Midwest America?
Johns
Or-
Mid-America, yes.
Mid-America, for $19,325 for rescue equipment. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
As Mr. Snow mentioned, we also were presented the, which is Resolution 2020 tonight, and we approved and forwarded that on to Budget Committee, which Budget Committee is forwarded on to Council, and that'll be coming up this evening. We also set meeting dates for January and February, as both of the dates of the regular meeting are on holidays. So in January, the meeting will be on January 22nd, and in February, it will be February 26th. And that's all we have tonight, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Public Services Committee, Chairperson Inzer.
Thank you, Your Honor. Public Services Committee is between meetings right now. Our next scheduled meeting is December 19th, right here in council chambers.
All right, thank you. Public Works, Chairman Armstrong.
Thank you, Your Honor. The last meeting of the Public Works Committee was canceled due to lack of council business. The next regularly scheduled meeting will be the first Tuesday in January, 5:30 in council chambers.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to reports from special committees and board liaisons. Mr. Elliott.
Thank you, Your Honor. Planning, Zoning, and Historic Preservation Commission met December 7th here in council chambers. There was discussion, some people looking at property at 206 Grant Street The property, the building is not in the best condition, to say the least. And looking at this, they were trying to get this property to qualify where they get 353 tax credits. So the Planning, Zoning, Historic Preservation Commission would have to declare that property as blighted. The commission did approve the blight ruling on that property. They will be working on that, and actually the 353 tax credit program will be coming to chamber, or to the council later on, once they get everything worked out on that. That's the first one that they've done. Looks like there may be also others coming in. Anybody that's been in economic development hates the word blighted and wish the state would update it. It's a bad word, but this definitely does fit in the program to where to work for it. It's a good economic development tool. Also, the commission was notified that the 2023 CLG report has been sent to the state, and the next meeting is scheduled for January the 4th, 5:30 here in council chambers. Additionally, Jasper County Commission, one item that will be of interest is that they will be proposing their final budget at the next week, and then it will have to rest or basically be out there for a couple of weeks before it's adopted. So that'll be adopted after the first of the year. Finally, the McCune Brooks Hospital Trust met November 29th, and you will see tonight Resolution 2021 and Resolution 2022. These were approved by the trust and forwarded to the council. The $300,000 for the ball field at the school, and then $120,000 for the Boots Foundation. So those will be coming up tonight. Next meeting will be on February 28th, 2024. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, move on to mayor's report. Met with representatives from the EPA last week to discuss the continuing Superfund project that had been expanded to include the entire county of Jasper. They had a pretty well attended public meeting last year. Same situation going on. They're going to continue to do some testing and test some wells and move on from there. But good meeting, and they're just kind of wanted to update us on where they were in the process. Also have been to two of the salary study committee meetings for the salary study for water and electric. Moving forward well. We will meet again next week and be putting together some of the peer programs to for that study, and I think that'll continue to go well. All right, we will move on to report or remarks from council members. Ms. Inzer, anything?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Mr. Taylor?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes, Your Honor. First, I would like to take a moment to say thank you to the city and to the Water and Electric. I had the opportunity to attend the retirees Water and Electric Christmas party this past week. My grandmother is always invited to that and to to all the parties that they have there. They threw a magnificent party recognizing a lot of civic virtue in our community as far as those who've worked to build this city into what it is. And I greatly appreciate all the time and effort that gets put into those things, and my grandma says thank you. And it's a great memory for my grandfather, and get to meet some of the men that he worked with while he was reading meters and digging ditches, and it was really special to spend some time with those old timers. Secondly, I would like to take a moment to thank all those who worked on the comprehensive plan. If you were here in 2009 and were an individual who worked on that plan, I would ask you to stand and be recognized at this time, if you don't mind. I know there are several in the room. Well, if not, and then we have those who worked on it recently. Even though you don't want public recognition, you've done a great job Those who worked on it in 2009 built a great blueprint for our city moving forward for 20 years, and we've continued to work within that structure and be very successful. Those who have worked on it from planning and zoning and our friends at Zainovan and the Public Works Department and then the Public Works Committee and now here at Council, a tremendous amount of work goes into that and has gone into that, and this will secure our future for another 10 years. And I'll be long off council by then, so I look forward to seeing the next round, the next generation of Carthage pick that up and build on the work that previous generations have done, like the retirement party. And you know, that's kind of my theme here, is that a lot of people put a lot of work into making this city run and run well, and that deserves to be recognized, even in times when we disagree. Everybody is here trying to row the boat in the same direction. So thank you for your work, and thank you for your work, those who worked on the revision, and Carthage has a bright future.
All right, thank you. Ms.
Have a
Blair?
nice evening. No, thank you.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Mr. Holt?
Nothing, sir.
Mr. Snow?
Yeah, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Public Works Department for the job that they did renovating the council chambers, expanding it back there where we have room to have more seats so that everyone can attend the meeting and have a seat when we have these large crowds like we've been having. I would also like to thank the police department and the fire department and the other City Hall, the Parks Department, for their entries into the Christmas parade. And thank you, Assistant Chief Martin. Thank you for giving Santa Claus a ride. That's all, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Elton?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Stark, if at the end of the council meeting, if you wouldn't mind coming up, I'd like to get your information and talk with you, so I appreciate it. Thank you. That's all I have tonight, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Well, I didn't until the citizens' comment portion. So while some of you were speaking, you probably noticed I wasn't making eye contact. I was busy typing on my computer and phone. The question when Mr. Putnam was up here and was gavelled down was, you know, he made the statement, "You can't do that," and you said, "I can." So I went to our city code. That's what I was doing during that time. Section 2-34 controls that, specifically subsections A and C. There is no right given there. And so then I went out, and of course I only had a brief period of time, but I did some research on, can a mayor put restrictions if someone is speaking respectfully and not out of line. I'm actually finding Supreme Court cases that say that you cannot do that. So I find it disturbing. I find that to be part of a pattern of behavior where we're trying to limit public access and we're trying to silence public voices, and I find that to be concerning. And I would ask, currently, does our city attorney know of anything that rebuts that point, that gives our mayor, other than the concept of we can do whatever we want?
I can research that.
Because my concern is, I know that you're tired of hearing some of these same points, but if the citizens are coming back and bringing these points up time after time, it must mean that they care deeply about them enough to show up and to continue to speak about them, because they're not being addressed and they're worried about them. But I would appreciate it if Mr. Dowley would research that, since he is our city attorney. But like I said, in the brief period of time that I had to research that, you do not have the right to gavel somebody down during their public speaking time, as long as they are not acting inappropriately. And that's all I have.
All right.
Can I finish my comments, Mayor?
Now we're past that period. All right, we'll move on to administrative report. Mr. Dowley.
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Captain Dining.
I would like to say we had a structure fire about 8 days ago out in Brooklyn Heights on Trowbridge Road, and came in at 2 o'clock in the morning. The parents were both at work. Their 16-year-old son was watching the younger siblings, and he awakened to fire in the house, fully developed. Got his 2 younger siblings out, and still had the wherewithal to go back around the house from the outside, shut all the breakers off, and start a garden hose on the window that had vented and was burning. And it was quite an action by a 16-year-old boy, and we had him come up to the station today and presented him with an award and gave the family $200 out of our benefit fund for the pancake feed that everybody comes to. And then one of the crew that put the fire out also threw in and put $100 on a gift card for just that boy to buy some new boots because he ruined his. And I thought that he deserves some recognition, and we're very happy that no one was injured and was able to make good decisions in that moment. I do, but he's a minor, so we'll keep that private for now. But we may try to we lowered the hiring age to 18 last year. We may drop it. He did pretty good work.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That's impressive, and I appreciate you guys recognizing him and helping him out, so thank you.
There's
Mr.
probably
Carney.
a lot I should report on. I've been gone. I think I've missed the last 3 meetings. Mr. Snow commented on the walls being gone back here, the expansion of this room. We had 2 of our employees kind of maintain or took that on to do on their own. I left to go on vacation and come back and it was finished, so I didn't have any involvement in that. But we are continuing with our LEAF program, the collection that we've done here in town. We've done it every year. We started a little later this year because of the way the leaves fell. So we'll continue on until about mid-January, and I think as of today, I checked, the guys have made around 1,800 stops across town, which equates to about 300 loads of leaves from hauling and recycling center. That's all I have this evening.
All right, thank you. Ms. Almendinger.
Thank you, Your Honor. I wanted to invite everybody to the Central Park Playground ribbon cutting on Tuesday, December the 19th at 4 o'clock. It's exciting to have the 4th of 5 playgrounds ready to go, thanks to the generosity of the McCune Brooks Hospital Trust. Rock Stadium renovations continue, and also the dog park fence will be going up this week, and the Eagle Scout candidate will be working with his troop to put together the dog park agility equipment this weekend. That's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Cox.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sales tax revenues for the month of December came in at $254,795. We are at 50% of our budget, and that is exactly where the sales tax revenues for this current fiscal year fall, right at 50%, $1,541,130. The use tax revenue, as Mr. Snow said, came in, we're substantially higher than anticipated. We are currently over 75% of our projected revenue for the year, for the fiscal year. We are at $728,631. We did not receive our marijuana sales tax revenue, and we have been told that the reason that was delayed because of the time the report was filed with the state. So it will show up next month. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Mr. Dagnan.
Thank you, Your Honor. Very quickly, Mr. Snow mentioned the public hearing. Thank you to Jeff Meredith of Vision Carthage. Everybody that's in this downtown area that could possibly get new sidewalks have been emailed. Then they know about the public hearing. It is December 14th at 6 o'clock. It is simply a requirement of the CDBG grant, of writing the grant. You have to have a public hearing before you write the grant. So it is also the same night as the Christmas dinner at the CMR. So we will have staff here. We will be able to handle the public hearing on that night. Also, the mayor mentioned the EPA. They have told us that there will be more public hearings coming. The biggest question I get asked is, I signed up to have my well tested, and they said that will be starting soon. They've assigned somebody. Also, I did want people to know that they are going door to door in Carthage. We didn't know that till the meeting, but if you get somebody from the EPA show up at your door, they are going door to door and trying to assess what yards they should be testing. Mr. Carney, the Public Works Director, and I did meet with a developer about building housing in Carthage, and that is the reason for the closed session tonight. It is talking about the sale of some city property. So we will go into closed session, discuss real estate, and thank you, Your Honor, that's all I have tonight.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to report of the Claims Committee.
The Committee on Claims filed a report in the amount of $724,193.71.
Ms. Blair?
I make a motion to accept the report and allow the claims.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the report and allow the claims. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We'll move on to old business.
Second reading of Council Bill 23-77, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with ClearGov Incorporated to provide an annual subscription for ClearGov Incorporated budgeting software for the city of Carthage, Missouri.
Any discussion? Cast your vote.
He wasn't joined. He should be good. Yeah, she's got to resend it.
Anything? Nothing? Can I just do a thumbs up? You just give thumbs up, thumbs down?
Council bill passes.
Second reading of Council Bill 23-78, an ordinance adopting amendments to the 2009 Comprehensive Plan in the city of Carthage, Missouri.
Any discussion? Cast your vote. Council bill passes. We'll move on to new business.
First reading of Council Bill 23-79, an ordinance to enter into a memorandum of understanding agreement with the Carthage Hardware for purchasing in the city of Carthage, Missouri.
Any discussion? All right.
First reading of Council Bill 23-80, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with the Carthage Economic Development Corporation and Southwest Missouri Bank for an encumbrance on property to be purchased by the city of Carthage pursuant to Council Bill 23-07 in the city of Carthage, Missouri.
Any discussion? All right. Move on to resolutions.
Resolution 2020, a resolution authorizing a supplemental budget adjustment to the Public Safety Grant Fund for fiscal year 2023 to 2024.
Mr. Snow.
Your Honor, I move that we adopt Resolution 2020.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2020. Any discussion? Cast your vote.
2.
Resolution stands adopted.
Resolution 2021, a resolution approving the recommendation of the McCune Brooks Regional Hospital Trust for the distribution of funds, $100,000 per year for 3 years, from the restricted trust fund to Carthage R9 School Foundation.
Mr. Eliff.
Your Honor, I move we adopt Resolution 2021.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2021. Any discussion? Mr. Armstrong.
Oh, no, go ahead, I'm sorry.
My issue with this resolution is not that we are donating money to the baseball field, because I think the baseball field falls squarely in line with what the McCune Trust should be about. I think that falls squarely as a bullseye. My issue is that the way this is structured, in my opinion, the purpose of the money is not to just grant money to a not-for-profit for any means which they see fit, which is what this resolution does, giving them $300,000 just toward the baseball field. In my opinion, the money needs to be targeted for a specific cause, because that is the procedure we have established in the past. We have given lots of money to not-for-profits over the years, but it was for specific reasons. We gave money to buy, what were they? Alan, help me here. The refrigerators. We didn't just give money so that they could, provide food access. We gave money for specific things. I would love to see this looked at again, and maybe them come up with a project that they could fund, like the mound. The mounds are expensive. I don't know if you've done baseball, but the mounds are expensive. And something specific, or the infield, or bases, or something specific, but just throwing money at this in a general way, to me, feels outside the realm of what the trust is established for.
Your Honor, if I may address that. This is for the naming rights of the ball field. That's
Right, well,
what the amount was.
naming rights are assigned, but the money goes toward the baseball field.
It all goes towards the field and for the
Yeah, but if you want to
different
say this is
things.
for naming rights, then we're just buying advertising. And it's $300,000 for advertising. And I think I'm trying to frame this in a way that feels like we are actually supporting the baseball field, not doing, the naming rights I understand, and there's a way to see naming rights as a way to support, but naming rights is advertising. And the McCune Brooks Trust is not established for advertising. That's why I would like to see something targeted that would impact the baseball game, the baseball field, or the stands or something, but specifically know what our money is being invested in outside of a sign. Because if it's just a sign that we're buying, then this falls way outside what the norm is for this fund.
Yeah, I respectfully disagree. It is going towards it and to help it out, to help the entire whole field on that. So, but I understand your point.
All right. Anyone else? Ms. Cossey?
So, actually, I was going to say something similar to what Councilperson Armstrong said. When I read through the information, the resolution is very short and non-specific, and as is the next one that we're about to vote on. And I would just like something more detailed and specific as to what the money is going to be spent on, rather than just giving a lump sum of money for general use. Because I believe that non-specificity has been a problem in a lot of different things in the city. And so I would like to see specifically what that money is going to be spent on, so we know exactly where it's supposed to go. That's my only concern. So as with Councilperson Armstrong, my concern isn't that the money's going to the ball field. It's just that I would like to see specifically what the items are going to be spent on.
All right. Anything further? Cast your vote. Resolution.
I vote no.
You got two.
I only have 2 votes, but it says I have 9.
Mine voting page didn't come up.
You voted no?
Our numbers didn't add up.
Okay.
Chris, what was your
Chris,
vote?
you just thumbs up
My
or down?
vote's yes.
Okay.
So 16.
Resolution stands adopted.
Resolution 2022, a resolution approving the recommendation of the McCune Brooks Regional Hospital Trust for the distribution of funds, $40,000 per year for 3 years, from the restricted trust to Boots Court Foundation.
Mr. Snow,
Your Honor, I move we adopt Resolution 2022.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2022. Any discussion? Mr. Snow?
So, the Boots Court Foundation has done a fantastic job of building a visitor center to welcome travelers as they come through Carthage. If you go down there, I'm sure they would be happy to show you the plans that they have for the green space behind the visitor center. We had an opportunity when they came before the Budget Committee to discuss tourism, to hear about this plan that they have for the green space where travelers can park, get out, exercise, find out about what to see in Carthage. And so I think this is a fantastic grant for them to help complete that green space. Essentially, we're getting another park in Carthage that the city will not have to maintain. So that's all I have to say, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Armstrong?
So the Budget Committee did ask for Ms. Kirby to look at this as her first project when she was hired. And, you know, what I envisioned whenever we requested this to be looked at was something along the lines of a one-time $100,000 investment that the city could then help fund this green space and then walk away. I'm a little concerned as a 3-year investment because I know they want to build the park now. And so to me, it doesn't necessarily make sense for a 3-year installment on something that needs to be built immediately.
Your Honor.
Yeah, that's
The
right.
reason that this amount came up, Mr. Armstrong, is it ties in with the cash flow of the revenue that they have on their investments. And so it fits into where other commitments they have made will be able to be carried out and they can fund this amount. That's why it's set up over a 3-year period, to tie in with the trust's cash flow.
Okay,
That's the reason for it.
That's fine. I'm still gonna make my motion based on what we discussed in the Budget Committee meeting. And I would like to amend this motion to read $100,000 for 1 year rather than $40,000 for 3 years.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to amend Resolution 2022 to read $100,000 for 1 year versus the $40,000 for 3 years. Mr. Ellis?
Your Honor, my concern is by doing that is the people that are on that board, they know what commitments they have, how it ties into the cash flow to be able to hold it, that it could interrupt what any other requests they might get. So before we would do that, I would prefer that it be tabled, go back to them if that's the case, and have them to make sure it would fit into their cash flow.
It's gonna have to go back to them anyway. I think that the way the trust is worded is that it's their discretion on how much, if any, gets sent out, and then with approval of the council. So I think that if we were to change that, it's gonna have to go back to them. I don't know if we have the authority to amend it.
I wasn't
if I
sure.
remember
I was
right.
testing to see if we were.
I mean, that's how I remember the trust. It's just we have the approval authority of what, they have the discretion versus our approval authority, or your approval authority.
In that case, I withdraw my motion.
I withdraw my second.
Mr. Snow?
I would like to, based on this discussion, I'm not sure how we express to the trust committee that the money belongs to the citizens of Carthage and shouldn't be given out based on cash flow. We need to get that money needs to be spent on things that are going to benefit the citizens. I don't believe it was ever meant to be a trust that will be going on for years and years and only be used as cash flow allows. So I don't know how we get that to the committee, but I believe we need to give them a guideline that the council would like to see that money spent. Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Blair?
On a similar note, I think Councilwoman Cossey had a good point about, on the previous resolution, about having it more itemized, for lack of a better term. So is there a way we could also communicate that while we support these in goals, we would like for the process to be a little bit different, or how it's presented a little bit different, so we have a clear idea of what it's going to be spent on? Could we communicate that to
We
them?
can talk to the
Okay.
committee. So, with this resolution, we either need to table it or we need to vote it either through or down.
I call a question. Vote.
You want to vote? All right. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Ms. Blair?
I was just going to ask, would you say the same concern is present with this resolution that you?
Yes, and
Okay.
actually, I was actually going to say exactly that, so you spoke my thoughts exactly. Yeah. And so I will be voting no because there's a lack of specificity, and that's the only reason. It's not that I don't think that there's a good cause here, it's just that I feel that I wouldn't assign it for myself, I wouldn't vote for the city.
I just want to say that I'm the one that wrote the resolution, and that in the future I can be more specific on it, but I do feel like this resolution is for a specific project. It is for the green space, whereas the baseball was not. So I do feel like this one is specific, and I just didn't put it on there, and I will make sure that that's on there going forward.
Right, I would just prefer to see it on there before I actually vote for it.
Mr. Snow?
I would encourage everyone to vote for this. The Boots Court Foundation has a very specific plan for that green space, and they have that plan. Normally, we used to get, when we got these resolutions or the grants from the trust, we used to get the whole packet with all the documentation in it. And I'm not sure, we didn't get it with these two tonight, but they do have a very specific plan, and it is for a green space park. There's gonna be picnic tables, there's gonna be trees and grass where you can walk your dogs. I mean, it's a very specific plan, so I would encourage everyone to vote on this, to vote yes on this resolution.
And she says that the information is in the packet
Oh,
for the specific request.
I may have missed that. I
Yeah,
apologize.
it's there. I guess I'm conflicted because while I support this, and I personally asked for this to happen in the Budget Committee, I'm not satisfied with the result that the McCune Brooks Trust has put before me to vote over. You know, they have asked us for years to provide specific requests, and then we do, and then they kick back something that is in tune with what they want rather than what has been requested. And I feel like that's very disingenuous on their part. Whenever we've been asked to provide specific requests. I would like to see money for this park now. So as a person who's being asked to vote on this, do I support this version of this? No, I do not. Am I gonna vote in favor of this? Yes, because I think that this money will be spent appropriately. I think it will be spent well. I think we're putting it in good hands. So I'm gonna vote yes, but I'm very disappointed with the McCune Brooks Trust yet again for their inability to read the room and listen whenever they ask for feedback, and we give it to them and then they ignore it.
All right, anything further? Cast your votes.
If you'll give me one. Nope. That kicked me off.
Resolution stands adopted. All right, that concludes the business on the agenda for now. Closing comments, Mr. Taylor.
I have no comments at this time, sir.
Mr. Armstrong.
We will not have another meeting between now and the new year, so I'd like to take this opportunity to just remind everyone how special it is to live in Carthage during the holidays. We have so many things to offer in this community. We have Sparkle in the Park, we have the Way of Salvation, we have a lot of community members who celebrate by putting up lights, and it's a lovely time of year to just drive around town. We have the carriage on the square. If you'll notice that I think we had 100% participation again this year with putting lights on the square, and we have decorations on the windows. You know, if you can, in any way possible, shop local and support our local businesses. It's important this time of year. A lot of community businesses, this is the time of year that they build those resources to survive the rest of the year. So it's very important to remember to support our locals. But Carthage is a great community, and we have a lot of great things going on. We have a beautiful community, and this is the time of year that it shines brightest. So Merry Christmas, and I will see you all in the new year, and Happy New Year.
All right, thank you. Ms. Blair.
To piggyback off of Councilmember Armstrong's comments about our community, on Saturday, I attended the Laverne Williams Children's Christmas Party with my third grader. And I'd like to thank all the different organizations involved in that. I know the fire department was represented, the police department, I think Parks was there to help put that on. The kids, the joy was palpable. The excitement was palpable. There was an entertaining Grinch who kept the party fun as well. So one more reason to be really proud of the community that we are a part of, despite the challenges that we've had this year. And I would also like to extend my appreciation for my fellow council members. I think our conversation over the last 10 or 20 minutes about resolutions really shows how we can govern well, even when we have differing ideas on how to get to the same endpoint. And I just appreciate how you all modeled that tonight.
All right, thank you. Ms. Heckmaster.
I'd like to thank everyone in the audience for being here. I'd especially appreciate the speakers with the things that you have shared and the insight that you brought to the table. We all need accountability and transparency, and you're working hard to bring that in areas that you believe that it's necessary. And I'm sure that although all of the council people may not agree, I believe that everyone welcomes your voice, and I wanted to thank you for your efforts. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Mr. Snow.
I'd just like to echo Mr. Armstrong and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Mr. Ella.
Just wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and let's remember what this season's really about. That's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Cosby.
And along those same lines, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I wish everyone a wonderful and safe holiday season.
I'm gonna, before I forward it on to you, Ms. Ensor, I'm gonna say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year as well. Appreciate y'all. And now Ms. Ensor.
Yes, I was saving my thank yous until the end of the night, but Alan has beat me to thanking Zeb and his crew for our beautiful remodel. I'm happy to see that we are back in our council chambers, and we've got plenty of room, lots of nice chairs, and so I appreciate that work. Amy, I appreciate your work tonight. Miranda's out on maternity leave, and I know that was big shoes to fill, but you have done a great job keeping us on track, keeping the slides up and getting the votes out and everything. So I appreciate your work towards helping run the meeting, and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to everybody as well. And at this time, I would like to make a motion that we enter into closed session. According to section 610.021, parentheses 2, the agenda includes the possibility to close part of the meeting to discuss the leasing, purchase, or sale of real estate by a public governmental body where public knowledge of the transaction might adversely affect the legal consideration therefore.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to move into closed session. Cast your votes.
Hold on. Brandy, your yes?
Yeah.
You took mine this time.
It didn't give it to me.
All right.
My computer was locked.
We are going to
Yes.
close session.
It's okay. That's fine.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you all.